Hello and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I'm Dorene Decibus and I'm from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and I'm really happy that you're able to join me tonight. I pre-recorded tonight's video because my other job, I am a middle school science teacher and we're having our big dance tonight and I am chaperoning it. So I have pre-recorded this so that you'll be able to see it at the normal time. So let me talk about what we're going to do tonight. I am going to be using the stamp set called Good Feelings. It is found on page 33 of the current annual catalog, and this is what it looks like. It is just a sentiment set, but it has sentiments in very different sizes and fonts, and it's just a great fun, and as the title says, Good Feelings stamp set. And so there's a few samples right in the catalog as well. We are also going to be using the dies that go with the Countryside Corners. And so we're using the Countryside Corners dies. And it matches the stamp set. The bundle is found on page 63. There are some great samples in the catalog showing the different ways this stamp set can be used. And we are also using the designer series paper that goes with it. You'll also find this bundle on page 156, and this is probably where you can see the dies a little bit better, but it is a really great die set to have, and I'm going to show you a technique tonight, a fun fold that you can do with this die set. Just to give you an idea, here's a sample card that was made with these dies and the stamp set. And you can see in this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the different dies used in just this card alone. It is a pretty great bundle to get. We're also going to be using the ombre dots. And so these are called the ombre matte decorative dots, to be precise. And we have the colors in navy, in pool party, in, did I write it on? No, I didn't write it on. Some of them I write it on. Calypso coral and old olive. And because they're the ombre, you can get, this is the Night of Navy, but this is more like the Misty Moonlight. And that's the color that we're going to really be focusing on tonight. So let me get my catalog out of the way and show you what you need for supplies. So, as I always say each week, you don't need to write down any of the measurements because I am going to be putting those in the comments underneath the YouTube video, in the description, and in the comments on my Facebook page. So you will have those. Just watch along and see what I'm doing, and then you can go back and get those items. So the first thing we're going to be using, I can show you a brand new spool of this. I have one that's open that's on my ribbon rack right next to me. But this is the new Misty Moonlight inner braid ribbon. So it is just so cool. It has this beautiful white braid going down the middle of it, but you can also use the back side if that's what you'd like to use as well. So it's I can use it, I've used it both ways, so that's kind of a neat thing about it. We're also using Petal Pink cardstock. You just need a scrap because what we're going to be doing, and I'll do that right now, we're going to be using the Petal Builder Punch, and we are going to need all 3 petals. So I'm just going to go in here and punch those out, set aside that paper, and we now have our petals that we need for this card. You're also going to need 2 pieces of the designer series paper, and you want the patterns to correspond with each other. So this piece measures 4 by 4, and this piece measures 5 1/4 by 4. You're going to need scraps to, well, you need a full half a sheet of the Misty Moonlight cardstock, and then you're also going to need to be able to cut out the largest of the corner dies with the Misty Moonlight. You're going to need to cut out a smaller side with the basic white, and then you're also going to need to cut out from the nestled dies a label die as well. So let's get started. Let me just put this punch out of the way. So I'd like to start with my stamping first. So this is going to be quick and easy because we're just going to do one stamped image, and it's going to be the greeting on this card. So I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight ink, and I am using the I'm Just So Happy For You. I'm going to ink this up first, make sure I get the whole image. This is a larger stamp. When I have a larger stamp, I like to ink it up upside down, but I'm also going to test it out, so I make sure I've put the stamp on in an so that it comes across nice and straight and it looks good. So I'm going to ink this up again. And then I am going to, I always line my label up so I know it is straight. And then I am going to stamp it right in the center. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on it because we've got a nice big stamp here. And there we go. Looks great. Perfect. It just fits perfectly on this label. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to close my ink pad so we can get started on putting this card together. So I'm going to grab my scoring tool and I'm going to start by, let me just grab a stylus. I'm going to start by taking my Misty Moonlight cardstock and I'm going to score it at 5.5. So there's our first score, and the fun fold's actually going to come from this label, and I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch. So there we go. So that is all set. So now we're ready to put together the card. And as I said, this is one of the corner, I'm calling it a corner die fun fold. So we're going to need our paper cutter because the first thing we are going to do is, now that I've scored this at the halfway point, I am going to cut this so that it measures 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to put my score line right on the 4 1/4 line, and I am going to cut that little bit of piece off of the end of the cardstock, and I'm not going to need that. So when I fold it, we're going to have a little bit of an edge here. I'm going to take a bone folder so I can get a nice crease on that. I am also going to take my bone folder and crease really nicely this little score mine, the 1/2 inch score that I put on the cardstock. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this piece. I want it to be even and centered right on the edge of this cardstock. So I'm going to take some adhesive and I'm going to apply it to this piece. Make sure I don't get any on the inside. And I am going to take this and line up this piece so it's aligned with the edge and centered on the piece of cardstock. So that looks pretty good, and I'm just going to burnish it so it's attached really well. So this is our fold. So quick and easy. I want to cover up that edge there. So this is where my designer paper, series paper, is going to go. Isn't that beautiful? I love the little trees. We've got the Misty Moonlight background, and the tree, the leaves of the tree are in the Night of Navy. Those are two of my favorite color combinations. And I have to say, I love the back side of this paper just as well. It's just beautiful. So now I'm going to center this on my back piece. And there we go. We cover up that edge so no one will be able to see it. On the front, we're going to put that piece of 4x4. And this is the back side. This side has cute little fox, different side views of it. So I'm going to be putting this right on the front of my card. My label where I can write a message is going to go right on the inside of my card. Like I said, this is just going to be such a quick and easy card tonight. There we go. I want to take my Misty Moonlight ribbon and I'm going to just tie a knot here. And here's where you get to see both sides of the ribbon. And I'm just going to take some shears and trim this. There we go. That looks great. I didn't tie this as tight as I'd like it. So what I'm going to do, because it's not as tight as I like it, I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm just going to take it right off the roll and I'm going to put it right under the knot. So that's going to hold it in place there. And then on the back side, just to hold it in place, that way it won't be moving all around. Again, I'm just going to take my glue dot, I'm going to put it one piece right under there and another piece right under here, and there's, that ribbon's not going to go anywhere. Okay, my label is going to go right here on the other part of the corner die. Just like that. So when we close it, we don't see the inside label, but we still get to see just some undertones of the inside piece of designer series paper, and it closes so nicely. I will tell you that this is a pretty, makes a pretty good size knot. So this would probably take some extra postage. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of do a mix between the Night of Navy and the Misty Moonlight dots. So I'm going to take one of the dark ones that looks more like the Misty Moonlight and one of the dark ones look like Night of Navy and the light ones look like Misty Moonlight. And then I'm going to take a couple of the small ones as well. We'll put, whoops, on my finger, not where I want it. There we go. And I think I am going to put a dark one up here and then a lighter one right over here. So that will give us 5. I always like to do an uneven number of my dots. So this is our, oh, we've got one little more thing I almost forgot, our flowers. What are we going to do with this? Well, this does fold nicely, but I want to use this flower to kind of have it stick under it, so it's really going to hold it shut. So if you wanted to hide something pretty special in. So I'm just going to take my petals that I punched earlier, and I'm just going to give them a little bit. I'm just going to kind of try to fold up the petals a little bit just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then we're going to build our flower. Okay, so there we go. So I am going to use a glue dot on these 2 layers. So I'm going to build up my flower by just alternating the petals. Let's just move that a little more in the center. There we go. And then we're going to put the small one in the center. And just give this a little more distressing. And then I'm going to take one of our pinks over here, our Calypso Coral, but I'm using one of the lighter shades, and it's going to go right here. Now what I want to do is I want to put my adhesive in the middle because I want the petals of the flower to enclose this. So let me just get a couple glue dots. There we go. And I'm going to put this so that I can still open it, but it will be a little clasp for my die cut, my corner label, and give just another feature to the card. So this, my friends, is our Fun Fold Friday for this week. A really simple card. You could do this actually with any die that you have. You just need to score that 1/2 inch part of it, and then you have a card that opens up on both sides, and I'm calling this the Corner Die Fun Fold. So I am so happy you joined me for this week for the recorded or pre-recorded version of Fun Fold Friday, and I really hope that you join me again next week. I will be back live next week, next Friday night. So I hope you're able to join me. I hope you all have a great week. Please like my Facebook page, share this post, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.